All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Again, I would love to see you on camera, but also I understand if you're not. So I wanted to first introduce what Morehouse Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center is. So we are the nonprofit arm of Morehouse College, and we primarily focus on supporting small businesses in the Atlanta metropolitan area, but also nationally. We typically have cohorts that support small businesses. In all different industries. And our goal is to help small businesses from our community grow and scale. We also have another aspect of the work that we do that supports student entrepreneurs. And so we help students at an idea stage, really grow their businesses. And so we've had students who have been able to graduate with fully fleshed out businesses, able to sell product or sell service. And so ultimately, MIEC is really just meant to support small businesses, and that's what we're doing today here with Camille. So we have a service called Shared Services. So those of you who are part of our MIEC alum network, so if you've been in a cohort in the past or if you're currently in the cohort, you'll be able to have access to Camille one-on-one sessions afterwards. But if you're not, feel free to still reach out to Camille. She's our subject matter expert when it comes to this. And so I'm very excited today for her to be able to lead this workshop. And hopefully, you guys will learn how to use some tools to best optimize your efforts to engage your audiences and drive demand. So I'll shoot it over to Camille.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the warm introduction. So, hi everyone. My name is Camille Dieudonne. I am the founder of Creative House, which is a consultancy, right? Agency, right? So, I help small to medium-sized businesses through digital strategy, business strategy, and creative strategy, right? And so, I got the opportunity to present this workshop, and I was super excited because one of the pain points that a lot of small businesses see is that they get a lot of strategy, but they don't necessarily get the tools and the resources to help them apply that strategy. And so that's how the idea of this workshop kind of came about, right? And so I wanted to present, in a way for you to apply the data trends that we're seeing in the marketplace to your businesses through Google Trends. And so turn data into demand is basically the way to do that. And so we're going to talk about how to use Google Trends to drive not only awareness, but consideration in sales. And so let's see, before we get into the workshop, actually, I think we have an intimate enough group. Could everybody kind of do like maybe a quick introduction to who they are and what their business is, just so that we have insight into, the types of businesses or the goals that you have for your businesses before we get started? So I'm going to start with Joe.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Joe Lewis. I'm associated with the MIEC through Ronald Cachet Falls. I've been a mentor. I spoke at one of the course at one of the Tuesday sessions uh, uh, that he holds. So I've been engaged through that medium. But my background is I have a platform by the name of Skylark, which is an engagement platform for communities, creators, brands looking to engage their audience with gamified quests. So utilizing funnels, but gamifying it in a way where people can drive awareness and then find their customers to then provide them with get engagement out of that and then provide them with rewards. So I was interested in this because it speaks directly to what I'm building. So and it could also help me find clients as well.
Cool. Love that. Thank you. Bernadette.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Bernadette L. Harris, and my company is the BTB Advisory Firm. I am a finance coach and business strategist. I work with small business owners, helping them to, on the finance side, understand their numbers. Sometimes I work with clients to help them with pricing or just making decisions, again, around data. Um, and when I saw the title, of course, I love data because I'm an accountant and I love data. But I decided to come to the workshop because of the work that I do, not specifically for my business, but because of the work that I do, I just felt like it would be information or even a resource that I could provide to the clients that I actually work with. So that was my reason for being, or that is my reason for being here.
Love that, love that. Yes, hopefully you can bring some tidbits back to them. Um, Kip?
Hey, my name is Kip Slade. I own a consulting firm called Claiborne Slade. My expertise is working with workforce development areas around the country to promote self-employment or entrepreneurship using the provisions of the Workforce Investment Act. And the reason why I'm here is just learning what it is all about as another possible resource to refer them to. And then we also plan to work with more schools. Like I think I sent an introductory letter to the executive director of your school here, telling them about the program and all that stuff. But so I'm just learning what you do as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, and putting it in my pocket. So if somebody says, I need to know more about AI and driving business and all that stuff, I'll say there's this nice lady over at Morehouse College that is an expert. That's who you need to talk to. So hopefully it'll be an opportunity for one of them to use you as well. Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
you're more than welcome.
That would be great. Um,
Yeah.
so the next up is Right Direction Technology. I think they're on mute. Okay. Uh,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, hey, how y'all doing? I'm Joey Hutchins, the founder and CEO of Right Direction Technology Solution. I'm currently in the MIEC SIN cohort now. So we provide government contracting in the realms of cybersecurity, utilizing software, the different types of software around Microsoft Azure. But my background is, come from the IT arena as well, from the military. So being part of the Ascend program, I'm always looking at how I can, learn, pick up some tidbits, but also build relationships with other entrepreneurs if in case there's some need for the what they aspect that they're using that the federal government could use. So I figured, hey, why not join to learn, and meet, some other entrepreneurs and see what, we can probably do together in the future.
Love that. Love that. Okay. Next up, we have Josh.
Hi, everybody. I'm Josh. I'm currently a senior at Morehouse. I don't have a business, but I currently work for the Creative Collective and CultureCon as a design coordinator, and I'm just here, just interested to learn about how to integrate trends in business.
Perfect. Yeah, hopefully you will take something back with you, right? So, and then also even if you don't own a business, this is still a really good use, resource for ideation too. So when you do start a business, or if you ever wanted to start a project, you can always fall back on this. So that's great. And then next up, we have Cassiline.
Hi, sorry. Good afternoon. I am Casey Lean, and I am working for Cherokee Angel Senior Care. It's an agency, so we handled a lot of personal care homes. So I wanted to attend this one to expand my knowledge about the trends, and also to as I we work with other agencies or companies, people. So just wanted to be updated for the trends, so we can gather more, you know, for the sales also. That's my goal.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we'll talk about sales also. Okay, so next up we have Jesse.
Everyone, forgive the background noise. It's kids trying to play piano. So I own a small consultancy called Civic Collins Consulting, and we help female-owned startups and small businesses set the foundation for internal communications. So sort of at that starting point, that inflection of starting a business, I help them operationalize their core values and put communication operations in place so they can build a foundation based off of that. So I am a brand new business coming from another small agency, and I'm really here to learn because I think data is sort of the starting point of everything. And so here to listen and learn.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. And next we have Dominique.
Yes, my name is Dominic Louis. I'm with Cherokee Angel Senior Care. We are a Medicaid provider agency, and I'm very interested to see how we can leverage data to reach out to other services like ours or smaller personal account because that's very important for our business.
Nice. Are you Haitian?
Born and raised.
Oh, my dad's from Haiti.
Okay. I didn't,
Welcome.
I didn't realize my accent popped up like this, but
Yes. Yes, I can always hear it.
all right.
Welcome. Okay, so next up we have Trevon.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shravana Kogu. I actually run a digital consultancy as well. Just here to listen and learn. I have a background in tech and advertising also. So yeah, just want to be a part of the group to listen and learn.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, next is Matthew, which is my family. Matthew.
Hey everyone, before Camille spoiled the surprise, I was going to just kind of tell you how I'm just a huge follower of everything Camille. I still am, nonetheless. Doesn't matter that she's my cousin. But for me, I'm here for a couple of reasons. One, Morehouse alum, 2016. Two, I have a government contracting company focused more so on procurement that I started about a year ago. So seeing how we can incorporate kind of the data trends into that. But primarily today, I'm looking to see how we can take all of Camille's lessons and incorporate it into a nonprofit that I'm running and been running for the past 3 years now, especially as we aim to continue to scale it from where we've been at when I took it over 2 years ago to kind of where we're planning to go in the next year or so. So trying to use the data insights to see how we can attract more audiences, capture more audiences. And of course, for us as a nonprofit, it's not necessarily about revenues, it's more about donations and impact. So how we can target the right audiences for both of those. But yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate the family support. Yes. So last but not least, we have Tavia. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Tavia. Okay, I think she's on mute. We actually have one more person join. So Ian, we're actually doing introductions. If you could just get like a 10-15 second spiel about you, yourself, your business, and then just so that we can see who's in the room, and then we'll get started.
For sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ian Jackson. I'm a graduating senior finance major from Nashville, Tennessee. I attend Morehouse College, and I'm the CEO and founder of Ordinary Odds, which is a lifestyle brand that focuses on footwear, apparel, and footwear community and creative storytelling. And so far, we've partnered with some brands such as Hennessy, the NBA, Red Bull, Essence, and Blavity. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. That's major. Thank you. So yeah, thank you everyone for the introductions. I really wanted to do that, one, to break the ice, but then two, to so that I can have insight into the different categories and verticals that are on the call, right? So that can kind of shape what we talk about, right? Because just hearing all the introductions, we have a diverse group of people, right, across tech, across retail, nonprofit space, even in the government space. So having that lens will help shape the conversation, right? And so if we jump right into the workshop. So basically today we're going to go over, a few things, but one, we're going to start off with about me, right? So I can give you my introduction, right? After you guys all so graciously did yours, I'll do a deeper dive about me, what brought me here and my background, and then also really jumping into the workshop, right? So that you can see Google Trends, see how it works, see how you can apply it to your business. And then also we'll do a use case scenario, right? So not only showing you what Google Trends is, but how can you apply that, right? So creating a kind of scenario that's based on a business, on how they would use Google Trends, so you can kind of replicate that framework for your own business and ventures. And then also we'll have the opportunity to do a live walkthrough. So I'll pull Google Trends up and we can go through the dashboard and really interact with the tool in real time so that you can see how to use the tool from start to finish. And then lastly, everybody will be able to have the chance to go through a Google Trends exercise where you'll kind of fill out a sheet that is applicable to your business so that you can again see how to apply these trends and research to your own personal business, right? So you'll have a tailored framework to walk away with. And so about me, right? So who am I? Again, my name is Camille Dieudonne. I'm the founder of Creative House, which is a digital marketing consultancy. And our slogan is we take the I out of creative. So basically, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Creative House is spelled without an I, and that's intentional, right? Because we do support small businesses and we understand the importance of collaboration and partnership with small businesses because a lot of small businesses have limited resources, right? So how can we effectively partner or connect partnerships so that you can maximize your budget and maximize your resources, right? With creative solutions. So that's the idea behind Creative House. And so just a personal background about myself, as I mentioned before, I'm West Indian. My father's actually from Haiti, which I said, before on the call, and then my mother's from Trinidad. So they actually came together and had me in Chicago, which is like one of the coldest places on earth. I don't understand why they did that, but I'm a Chicago-born native, and so that's where I was born and raised. Professionally, I had a lot of training professionally in New York City. I lived in New York City for about 7 years after college. I was able to go to grad school out there. I did a lot of my entry level and mid-level work in New York City. And then, lastly, I just love all things good vibes. So all things astrology, all things cosmic. I love that. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. And then professionally, I'm a natural born creative. I love doing creative things. I always have a creative project that I'm working on just to fulfill me and bring me joy. And then also, I'm a digital marketer with a background in sales strategy, right? And so I have over 12 years of experience in marketing and advertising, and I am now taking that experiencing and applying it to businesses, applying my corporate experience to small businesses to help them, right, to develop those frameworks and those playbacks that a lot of the big players are using so that they can scale their business in a smart way. And so my industry experience, before I started Creative House, I worked across a couple of different agencies, right? And then also in tech. And so this allowed me to have a robust experience and profile. So I started off within the search engine marketing space. And so what does that mean? That means that whenever my clients that I worked on, somebody was searching for, let's say Campbell's, for example, right? If somebody was searching soup recipes on Google, that the Campbell's ad would pop up on Google, right? And pop up in front of the right people to give them the right messaging that they wanted to see. And so I started off my career in search engine marketing, which is also known as paid search, working across a lot of CPG brands, right? And so CPG brands, meaning consumer packaged good companies. And so across these brands that you can see all the way on the left, that spans across health and wellness brands, home care brands, personal care brands, and also packaged foods. And so that experience led me also to then work at RGA, which is a creative agency still in the lane of advertising, where I worked in paid search again, but not only paid search, but paid social, right? So when, my clients that I manage, if people were searching on Instagram or scrolling on Instagram or Facebook rather, making sure that their ads and their content were showing up in front of the right people again to get them to take the action that they wanted them to take, right? And so at RGA, I not only got a chance to work across CPG, right, in the food and beverage space, but then also across the retail vertical and finance vertical, right? And so again, that's the reason too why I wanted to have those introductions, because now knowing that I have the context of people that are on the call right now that are working across retail and finance, knowing that I have that background, I can already, enter the conversation knowing, the playbook of how to scale certain businesses on these platforms. And then lastly, Pinterest, right? And so at Pinterest, I worked on the partnerships team, which is more so sales. And so from there, I was able to help develop sales strategy internally, right? To make sure that the brands not only scale quarter over quarter, year over year from a sales perspective for Pinterest, but then also making sure that our partners, our client partners, were able to hit their brand goals and their business objectives on our platform, right? And that included creative development, media strategy, playbook development, even product adoption, right? So making sure that we were working with the product team to make sure that our advertisers had all the products that they needed to see success on the platform. And so that's a little bit about me. And then we can get right into the workshop. So basically, so the workshop objective. So again, as I mentioned before, we really, Adara was very intentional, right? When we started to craft the workshop, we really wanted to make sure that everybody walked away with not only information, but actionable steps that they could take, right? And so our objective is to really make sure that everyone leaves here knowing, hello? Oh. So our objective is to make sure that everyone leaves with an understanding of how to apply Google Trends to really understand their audience interests, so what their audiences are interested in, and how they can translate that data into insights and strategies, right? To not only boost engagement with your brand, but also, as somebody mentioned, sales, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. And so the four major learning outcomes that we have for today's session is one, identifying consumer behavior, right? So what are your audiences looking for, right? What's happening in the marketplace? What's happening on Google? What are the trends, the upcoming trends, right? Not only now, but in the future, to be able to really identify what people are doing. And then two, giving you the opportunity to have a strategic plan in place. So, from a content development perspective, how can you translate those search insights into relevant marketing ideas? And then third, we want to make sure that you can enhance your campaigns. So building more effective campaigns, not only have them be effective from a content standpoint, but also a timing standpoint, right? So making sure that the campaigns are being deployed at the best time possible to see the best results. And then lastly, again, walking away with that framework, right? So going through that worksheet that I mentioned before so that you can walk away with something tangible. And so just before we get started, I promise we're going to get started after the slide, is, the first thing is I want to go over a few housekeeping items. So the first things first is this is meant to be conversational. It's not meant to have me just present. Feel free to stop me. Feel free to engage and comment, ask questions along the way, because I really want to make sure that this is interactive and engaging. And the second thing that I want to mention is that there will be a live walkthrough of Google Trends at the end or towards the end of the presentation. So I just ask that you hold off on trying to go on Google Trends on your own because I really want you to soak in all the information and I don't want anybody to miss out on anything that's presented. And then third thing is that there will be a trends resource guide that will be shared after this presentation that will be emailed to you. And so the reason why we wanted to include a trends resource guide is because even though we're going through Google Trends today, Google Trends is not the only trends platform, right? There are additional platforms that you can use for your business, but we're focusing on Google Trends today. But we still wanted to give you those resources and those links as an FYI. And then lastly, every MIEC alum gets 3 complimentary strategy sessions with me. So I did want to call that out because, you know, the opportunity is there. So at the end of this, if you really had questions that were more tailored to your business, feel free to schedule those sessions with me. And then also, even if you're not an MIEC alum, I still do offer strategy sessions and consultations. So again, reach out to me and we can set those up. Okay. So let's get into it. So data, what is it and why, what it is and why it matters, right? So when we hear data, everybody talks about data, data, data all the time, but really, what is it? How do we simplify this term, right? So that it's not too overwhelming and people don't shut down when you hear it. So I saw this quote, and I really love this quote because it really did encompass everything that I wanted to convey during this workshop, which is marketing without data is like driving with your eyes closed, right? And so you wouldn't drive with your eyes closed, so you shouldn't be marketing without data. That's basically what this quote is getting at. And so, you know, we hear the term data driven, right? It's one of these buzz terms that we hear all the time with marketing, data driven, data driven, data driven. But really, what does data driven mean? Um, there's different interpretations of what that can mean, but a simple way to explain what data driven means is it's basically using facts, right? So objective truths to make better decisions instead of guessing, right? So instead of saying I feel, you can say I know, right? And so leading with those definitive statements will help you to be able to craft better narratives for your business. And so with data, a lot of the times what I see is that a lot of small businesses or a lot of people in general, they kind of get overwhelmed because there's so much out there in terms of data, right? There's so many dashboards, there's numbers, there's Excel spreadsheets. And so I really like to simplify things into practical examples. So within this example, this is called the grocery store example. And so the scenario here is that you're a brand new owner of an existing grocery store, right? So you purchase a grocery store from somebody and it's your first time ordering inventory for the week. And so you make the first order. And so within this first order, you include a bulk mango order. It's the idea here is like, I love mangoes, right? And so everybody loves mangoes. That's the idea. Since I love mangoes, all my friends love mangoes, I'm going to order a bunch of mangoes for my store. And so you order the mangoes, and then the week comes and it goes. And then the result for the first week is the mangoes don't sell, right? Which sucks. The mangoes don't sell, but the strawberries do. All of the strawberries that you had in stock, they completely sold out and the mangoes didn't sell. Again, they went bad. And so the next week, you know, you're a business owner, right? So you're like, okay, I'm going to shift. So the next week you order bulk strawberries. You order a massive amount of strawberries in your next order. And so that frame of thinking is because last week strawberries sold out, so people love strawberries. I'm going to order them. And then the second result for the second week is that the strawberries don't sell. Well, you find out at the end of the second week is that the strawberries don't sell, or the strawberries were in demand the previous week because there was an annual strawberry festival, right? And so this is an example. This is a kind of real world example of how to apply data because basically the store owner, had they taken the time to research the trends from the previous year, they would have been able to see that there's a spike in strawberries at a certain period of time because of this event. And so the implications of them not using data to make this order is that one, they had a missed revenue opportunity, right? So they really did miss the true window of when strawberries were in demand for that strawberry festival. And so the way that you could apply that from a marketing perspective is when you don't track trends, you miss the customer's moment of attention. And so you kind of see this on social media where, you can really for like you can use this for a seasonal for a holiday, for example, right? If you know that around the holiday time, certain products are being searched for more, like what's a like chestnuts, for example, right? Like if you were a grocery store owner, then you could create more chestnut content for the holidays. But if you don't do that research, then you wouldn't necessarily know that object is trending during that time, right? And so the second implication is wasted money. So because the store overstocked on mangoes, they lost money because the mangoes went bad. And then they lost money twice because when they did the second bulk order of strawberries, the strawberries went bad. So they wasted money. And again, from a marketing perspective, is without data, you waste advertising dollars or you waste marketing dollars, right? Whether that be in content or ads, but basically you'll waste money on ads that don't convert or ads that don't bring you sales. And so the third implication here is that they also lost customer trust. So when customers came in to look for strawberries, in their store, they didn't have them. So the next time the same customers, when they went to go look for their product, they went to look for the stores that did have them when they were in their search. And so again, from a marketing perspective, if you don't show up when your audience is looking for something, then they'll find another brand that does. Okay. And so basically, this example is to show you that data not only allows you to make decisions, right? But it allows you to make decisions based on what people want, but then also based on when they want it. So combining the information that you're getting and also the seasonality. So making sure that you really are deploying your campaigns not only with the right content, but at the right time. Okay, so Google Trends. So first off, I want to say that Google Trends could be used for anybody can use Google Trends, right? But I really wanted to call out the audiences that could benefit kind of the most from a marketing standpoint to use the platform, right? So one, businesses, right? Businesses and brands can really benefit from using Google Trends to make better business decisions in general based on true intent, based on what's happening in the marketplace. And then the second group of people is marketing leaders. So people who want to shape campaigns that drive strong performance and also help reach goals. And then thirdly, content strategists, right? So the people that are really driving the content that lives not only on the website, but also in social media, etc., and really develop content that resonates with their audience and what their audience wants to see. Okay. And so what is Google Trends? What is it, right? And so basically it's a free online tool that anybody can use. It shows you what people are searching for and also provides insights, right? So not only does it show you what people are searching for, but it shows you the top trending terms, the top terms, also the seasonality. So for in this example, you'll see best Christmas cookies is the search term that's being shown, and it shows you in this screenshot that the seasonality, that term specifically peaks in December. So if you were if you were a baking company, for example, and you know that people are searching for best Christmas cookies around this time, then you could develop content around that and then have those campaigns live in December. And then also, Google Trends also shows you the regional interest, right? So, what locations show the strongest interest of what it is that you're searching for, of what it is that you offer, excuse me. So, your audience, they may over-index in Utah, for example, right? And so that also gives your business additional insights into how you can deploy your media strategy because you can target them a little bit more effectively in that area. Okay, so where to apply these insights? So once you've searched for, insights on Google Trends, how can you apply these insights? And so the first thing that I wanted to call out is that you can leverage these insights for creative development. So before you start a campaign, understanding what those trends are can help you inform your creative team, right? So what is your shoot going to look like? What are your creative assets going to look like? What words are going to be included? Really integrating like those top search terms in some of your creative assets could really boost performance and help with the overall campaign. And so that's the first thing I wanted to call out. And then the second thing is websites and blogs. So blogs are huge. I know if anybody's heard of SEO or, that's like another buzz term that a lot of people hear when they search for marketing for their business. And so a lot of the SEO strategy is centered on blog content or just content on the website. So if you are going to move forward with content on your website, you want that content to work for you. And so a way that you can do that is by using the top terms that you're seeing on Google Trends and integrating that on your website in blogs and on your website so that people are one interested and they come to your website, but then two, that they're engaged. And so when a consumer is engaged with your brand, they'll be more likely to take the extra step, right? They'll sign up for your newsletter or they'll reach out for, fill out the contact form, etc. The second the other place that you can apply these insights is social media too. So similar to creative development, you could use these trends to develop reels. So the type of reels that you promote or that you post, still images, they can all include again those seasonal trends, those seasonal insights to increase the overall engagement of your profiles. And then also email campaigns. One of the ways that you can really leverage these insights is by using a lot of those top terms to write blogs and then send those out in your email campaigns and including those top terms in your subject line to boost open rates and boost engagement. And then the next way is through paid ads. So again, if you're putting money behind something, you really want to make sure that it includes data. And so paid ads from a Google perspective, whether it be meta ads, boosted posts, you want to make sure that they also include these top seasonal terms, top terms. And then lastly, just overall business strategy, right? So really understanding what's happening in the marketing place to inform decision making, right? So what products do you want to promote, for example? If you know that products are trending up, then that would be a business decision because then you can say, hey, we need to produce more product, more of this product around this time because it's more in demand. And so when to apply
Hey, Camille,
insights.
question for you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Uh-huh.
If you can go back one slide for me, I think I had kind of a two-part question.
Mhm.
So first, and I may have missed it because I'm sitting here writing down notes at the rapid rate. How are you recommending that we kind of pull this data? Is it surveys? Is it like on the ground talking to whatever communities that we're in, or is there another way that maybe we can pull this data to gain the insights of what actually people are wanting, whether they're already aligned with us or we want them to be aligned with us? We're kind of just searching for that niche.
That's a great question. So basically within Google Trends, specifically for this workshop, right? With Google Trends, because it is a dashboard, you have the opportunity to go in and enter a search term. So you, for your nonprofit, maybe you want to get in front of people that are searching for nonprofit partners. So in Google Trends, you could type in nonprofit partners in Google Trends, and what it will do is spit back a whole kind of report for lack of better words, that will show you all of the terms that are rising related to that search term, nonprofit partner, and then also when that search term peaks, what areas has the strongest search volume in those locations. And so that way you'll be able to get those insights within the Google Trends dashboard.
Okay, perfect. And then I'm assuming we can use that to inform how we do the website blogs, paid ads, email campaigns, or even social media to direct kind of specifically what we post or
Exactly.
push out there. And then I guess part B question, this is more so directed strictly at social media. What is your recommendation for the mix maybe between reels and still images or just the different type of content we're posting? And I understand that may vary per platform, but looking for your kind of expertise on that one.
Yeah, that's a great question too. So I would say that video is king right now, right? And so typically when I shape media strategies, my recommendation is heavy up on video. So it could be like a 70-30 split. That's standard of starting off, depending on the brand and the assets that they have available or even the resources. But 70% video, 30% still images, I think is a great split. And the reason being is because even if you kind of think about the way that you digest content on a daily basis when you're scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, excuse me, the content that really compels you and gets you to engage with a person, a content creator, or a brand is typically video, right? And so a lot of the times, a lot of brands they get still images like ticks, like they go on Fiverr, excuse me, and get toolkits of like static images to post on the Instagram page, which is great if you want to kind of, supplement your feed with content, but to get the content that really compels and gets people to engage and convert, I would say heavy up on video.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Okay. So when to apply the insight? So again, seasonality is really important in terms of campaign success. So we really want to make sure that we're applying our insights strategically, right? And so within media, typically there is an evergreen strategy and then there's a seasonal strategy, right? And so evergreen is pretty much, the content that is true throughout the year, no matter the time of the year. And so if you were selling essential oils, for example, what that looks like is that a term like essential oils for relaxation would be a term that somebody would search for throughout the year, and that your content could be live throughout the year because there's no seasonal aspect to it, right? And so even though evergreen content is very important for brands, we also want to pepper in seasonal trends, right? Because we want to capture that added interest. And so a seasonal trend or how you apply seasonal strategy is, again, if you owned an essential oils company, if we go in Google Trends and we see that essential oils for sleep peaks in January, then we would apply that to our seasonal strategy and really heavy up on supporting that term and supporting content around that term in January. And so having a blend of evergreen and seasonal content strategy allows you to have stability within the content throughout the year, but then also increase your efforts around terms and content that has peaks because you don't want to miss the window of opportunity.
Camille, Joe has a question.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I was coming back to that point around the question around the surveys and how do we get that data, right? And one thing I wanted to highlight is that what I'm building is a way to kind of engage and survey your community, your audience to kind of get that data, right? And I wanted to understand that data that people can capture with my platform, where would that fall in terms, would that be like further an additional layer of attribution that allows for them to be more well-rounded in this process, or where would you say that falls? down this funnel pipeline.
So your platform, you said you allow people to send out surveys to get.
You can build act quests. So you can build quiz quests, you can build survey quests, poll quests, you can build check-in quests, basically being able to bring people come to your actual business and then identify how many of them took that action, right? And being able to capture that data, but then also reward people for taking those actions.
And is that a set is are you building an app?
It's live already.
Okay, so based on if I'm understanding this correctly, you have an apps that you would send out to businesses and then they could kind of send out surveys. And so for that, if I'm understanding this correctly, for that, I think that would be in addition to leveraging the Google Trends data, right? Because within marketing, it's such a vast ecosystem. We need all of the different moving pieces to work together to get success. And so Google Trends would sit here, and then I would say survey data would sit over here. And so we don't necessarily want any of the data pieces to be siloed. We want them to work together, but work together in a way that's effective for what it is that we want, right? And so for marketing, Google Trends helps us deploy our marketing strategy in the most effective way. Survey data, depending on the questions that are being asked, will help you shape maybe customer experience, right? What are customers really, what do they want to see from your brand? Are there any products that they want to see? Any reason why they're not converting, for example, right? And they're like, hey, we really loved when you had this product, but when you changed it, it made me not want to use it anymore. So if I'm thinking about your product correctly, I'll say that you can definitely use both. And I think that they would work together, but for different purposes.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you.
No problem. Great question. Okay, so next is why. So why should you build, should you research before launching? I'm kind of going to go over this quickly because again, we kind of went over this, but again, buying behavior, strategic planning, and strategic positioning, right? So getting you as close to your goal as possible. And then how do you apply these insights? So from a marketing campaign standpoint, there's a process, right? And so a lot of the times, we get excited, we want to launch our campaigns and we only focus on the campaign piece. But as you can see on this slide, there's many steps that go into supporting a campaign. And so from a pre-campaign standpoint, there's three major pieces that we definitely want to touch on. Three milestones. And so the first one is to develop your goals, right? And so within goal development, what does that look like? That means that you sit and you write down and you say, hey, for this campaign, I really want to drive sales. That's my goal. Or, hey, for this campaign, I want to grow my following on Instagram, or I want to grow my email list, right? And so when you sit down and you have a goal, then you know how to get to where you want to go. So that's when you want to bring in your marketing team. So somebody like me, or any marketer or any partner that you're working with, you want to bring them in as early as possible so that they can help shape that conversation and move forward to help you hit those goals. And then the second piece, and that's where we really want to, lean in on market research. So in this example, Google Trends, but market research. So what's happening in the marketplace, right? Now that we know that we have these goals, what are the audiences that we want to reach? What are they doing? And then the next step is interpreting those insights and developing the strategy. And then next after that is developing content and creative. And so all of those pieces are vital for campaign success. And then you get into campaign, right? And so we want to make sure that we don't miss any of those milestones because those are all crucial to get us to where we want to be. And so within the campaign piece, that's when we launch the campaigns, we optimize, right? So we see what's happening, we make adjustments if we need to, and then after the campaign is ended, we evaluate performance and we try to make it better, the next campaign better. Okay. And so the use case scenario that I wanted to show is basically shows a mock up of a small business. campaign, marketing campaign, right? And so this example, I made up this company. It's called the Best Essentials Wellness Company. And so a little company overview on them. They're a small business. They just launched. They sell essential oils, and their business goal is to drive sales of their current products, but eventually they want to scale into, different product categories within the wellness space. And so with any marketing campaign, they start off with a marketing brief. So again, they have a marketing goal. So their marketing goal is specifically to increase product sales and identify which essential oils perform best. And so they have an annual marketing budget of 100K. They have 5 total products that they can support. So 5 different essential oils: lavender, orange citrus, tea tree, bergamot, and rosemary. And then their target audience is people interested in wellness, relaxation, and natural remedies. So their approach is that they really want to develop content and assets that to perform well. And so the next step is that they want to go into Google Trends. And so they go into Google Trends, they type in the keyword essential oils because that's the space that they're playing in. And then they notice that the search term for essential oils peaks in December. So that's an interesting insight that they didn't necessarily know before. So that shows them that there's an opportunity to capture additional interest within the December timeframe. And then also Google Trends shows them interest by location. So again, the same keyword, essential oils. You have a question?
Yeah, quick question.
Mhm.
On this part, right, like searching for your keyword essential oils, how much does it also help to use words that are more like if in the case you're in the business that's something that people are not so much aware of, right?
Mhm.
Using words that are adjacent or somewhat near the realm of what people would recognize your product as. How valuable is that too?
That's very valuable. That's a really great question. So with your product, if you had to search for what it is that you're developing, how would you search for it as the business owner?
Uh, I would search, I mean, a couple of things, but I would probably lead with like Web3 community or blockchain community or community engagement platform, something to that extent, maybe.
Okay. Okay, so I love that example because that's very technical, right? And so with search, it's beautiful because you do have that data. And so you would search with those technical terms, but for me, based on what you told me, I would say that I would probably find your product by searching for I don't know if it's free or not, but I would probably start my search like free survey companies.
Got you.
Right.
Okay.
So instead of thinking about the search from the technical standpoint, if you look at it from the consumer standpoint of who's going to be using your product and think of how they would get there. And so from me as somebody that's a small business owner, based on what I understand of your product, I would be searching for, hey, I need surveys for my customers. So I would be looking for survey platforms or free survey companies, or how do I send a survey to my customers, things like that. And then once you type in those search terms that you think um, people will be searching for in Google Trends, the beauty of the platform is that they spit back other related terms. So even if you go in with a guess, they'll show you the other terms that are related to the one that you typed in. So then you can go from there and then really develop the terms that you want to support. Okay, perfect. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yes, that helped a lot. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so the next thing is again, kind of going based on what we just said, so top related terms, right? So when they typed in essential oils, Google Trends shows them the top terms. So on here you can see that the top terms are what essential oils, best essential oils, what are essential oils. And so from my standpoint, it's like these are a lot of information seeking terms. So that lets me know the mindset behind the audience that we're going after, right? They're not necessarily showing and they're not explicitly saying, hey, I want to buy essential oils, but they're researching, right? And so they're trying to find out more information. So that gives us an opportunity to meet them where they are, and we could develop content around that. And so the next thing that they find out is rising related terms, right? And so again, Google Trends shows you not only the top terms, so the most search terms, but what trends are trending, what terms are trending up. And so the rising terms is essentially, it shows you what people are starting to search for more in a short period of time. And so that lets me know that, from a business standpoint, the rising terms are something that we want to support in the future, because in the future, these are the content terms that people are going to be looking for the most. And so within this example, the two items that I wanted to call out was, one, hair loss is the top topic around this search term, and then two, ages, right? And so these are two of the breakout items that are really being searched for the most. And so ages is a new audience. It's a new audience unlocked, right? And so ages, when I looked it up, I didn't know what this was until I actually found this example. But ages is like a Greek god or goddess. And so I didn't understand how that really applied to essential oils, but then when I looked into it, people that practice paganism, they use that, or there's an oil that they develop based on this term. And so the new audience that was unlocked is the witches, right? So the people that are into developing these oils themselves, people that are interested in pagan practices. And so that allows you to have a new audience that we're going after. And then again, if we look more into the topic of hair loss, one of the top terms around hair loss was rosemary oil, right? And so again, that's something that is another insight unlocked, because now we know that, people are looking for rosemary oil. Okay, so regional insight. So the top regional insight is lavender marriage. We see that lavender marriage is one of the top terms in one of their most popular categories. And so that's not a relevant term. I'm not sure if you know what a lavender marriage is or not, but you can look it up on your own. It's not relevant to what it is that we're selling, right? And so the reason why I really wanted to call this out is because within Google or within targeting and ads, you have the opportunity to target keywords, but you also have the opportunity to layer in keywords as negatives. And so what that means is that you can say like, hey, even though lavender is in this term lavender marriage, which is really popular, and I'm selling lavender oils, I don't want to appear for lavender marriage. And so that allows you to save money on your marketing efforts. Okay. And so also the next thing I want to call out is that tea tree oil usage for cats is also another popular item. Okay. And so lastly, before we get into how we apply these insights to develop a marketing strategy, is that Google Trends, or Google owns YouTube, right? So within Google Trends, you have the opportunity to extract insights from YouTube. So what people are searching for YouTube on, because YouTube is a search engine also. And so within this example, we're seeing that there's a trend peak during the month of May for essential oils, which was different from what we were seeing on Google. And then also there's different sub-regions that have higher interest. And so I went through that entire spiel so that we can develop a marketing strategy. And so within this marketing strategy for the best essentials, we want to leverage that data that we just learned. And so what that looks like is, from a marketing strategy standpoint, they're only going to support the three products that they're seeing that are trending, right? So they had five originally, but they're only going to move forward with the ones that are trending and that they're seeing strong interest around. And so that looks like tea tree, lavender, and rosemary. They're going to develop content and blogs around DIY tea tree oils because that's for cat recipes, because that's what people were searching for, how to make your own perfume, Aegis oil recipe. And then also, for social media, they're going to develop both long and short form content around rosemary oil, lavender oil, because those again were the oils that were trending up. And then from a search engine marketing perspective, they're going to support lavender oil, tea tree oil, diffusers, and then they're going to add lavender marriage negative keyword as a negative keyword to save money. And so for location, they really want to increase their efforts, so increase their ad spend in the locations that had the biggest support, which was Springfield for Google, Spokane, Gilbert, Boise, and then for YouTube, Virginia, Alaska, and Utah. And so based on this, they developed the content, but then also the seasonal strategy is that they're going to increase their ad spend in December and May when the peaks were happening across both platforms. And so the results here would look like, stronger brand, stronger campaign performance, increased engagement, right? So because they develop their content based on what it is that people are searching for, people are on their website more, they clicked more, they commented more, shared more, all the good things. And then also they were able to identify their target audience, but then also expand into different audiences. So in that example, right, where they saw that people were searching for oils because they were pagans, they were able to tap into that audience and develop content around that. But then all for this campaign, but then also moving forward, they identified that as a key audience that performed really well from them. And then also from a seasonal campaign development standpoint, they were able to develop seasonal interest, seasonal content based on seasonal interest, right, and plan ahead for the next year. So I basically wanted to give that scenario so that you can see one, how you can have apply insights and develop strategy using Google Trends, right? So from the briefing process to the research process to the actual campaign application, and then what that would look like moving forward. Okay. So now we can actually get into the walkthrough and the demonstration. And so while I'm pulling that up, I wanted to see if anybody had any questions. Nope. Okay. So let's start by, I'm going to do a live walkthrough. So Joe, did you want to start with your example, actually?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Okay, let's start. So what did we say? So I said that I would start with survey.
Yeah, you said, how do I issue a survey to my customer or free survey platform? That's what you said.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. I typed in survey company just to kind of keep it short. So for the first thing I did was I typed in the keyword, right? And so I want to make sure that I apply the filter so that I see the information that I want to see. So within Google Trends, you can extract insights from worldwide, from specific countries, from specific reasons. But for this example, I'm going to set it to United States. And then I'm going to say maybe the past 12 months, right? You can go up to 2004, but we're going to go for the past 12 months. And then you also can drill down at the category level. And so for this example, if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to only search for people in internet and telecom community or something like that, you could. I'm not going to do that because I want to broaden the results as much as possible, but you can, that is an option. And then also you can choose between web search, so Google search, YouTube search, Google Shopping, news search, or image search, right? And so for this keyword survey company, which we'll see if there's a better term for you, but we can see that search data or search interest around this term has grown, right, throughout the year. But for last year, it peaked. When did it peak? It peaked in September, right? And so there were dips in between July, so the summer and the fall. And so that lets me know, let's say that you really wanted to build some type of strategy or content piece around this, or even strategy or flighting, that there's stronger interest around this term for really in the back half of the year. Right. And so that lets me know that if you have a lean budget, that maybe you want to concentrate your push even from your email list or blogs around that time of the year. And so if we go down further,
So,
if we look
sorry, question there though. Is that saying that that time of the year, like forward facing as well, or is it just because like next year, July, is that potentially gonna be high at that time as well?
That's a great question. So because this is an example, I want to convey thought process, right? But in order to get that question, then you can kind of change look back when we the years to get more so that you can see if it's true. And I don't know.
Am I the only one that's seeing a spinning screen here?
I think everything's frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, she might have dropped. She'll probably come back on in a second. Okay.
Wait, so she's not on the screen for everybody?
Looks like she just came back.
Okay. I think my
Okay.
internet is cut off for whatever reason. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen again. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the so this shows now that on the screen you see the past 5 years. And so if you really wanted to identify if the trends are true, consistent year over year, every single year, then you could expand the look back window, right? And so for here, what we're seeing is that for survey company, let's see, January, February, March, June, July, August, September, that it looks like there is a consistent dip, right? Within the summertime, and then it kind of goes back up during the fall time, and then kind of takes a dip again towards the end of the year, and then kind of goes back up. And so you would have to make that determination based on consistency year over year again, right? And so if we are seeing that there's consistency year over year within the same space, then we can say, hey, this is what we've learned, and we're really confident that this is what's going to happen every single year. Let's use that data in our strategy. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And so the next thing is sub-region. And so for this term survey company, we're seeing that the top terms are in Georgia, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma, Louisiana. And so that shows you the state. But even if you wanted to get a little bit more granular and look at the metro region, right? So what metro areas are have the strongest performance, you can do that. And then you could even go down to the city level. So, excuse me. So Union City, Baton Rouge, Sandy Springs, Athens are some of the top cities that have interest around that term. And so again, this allows you to make better decisions because if you wanted to increase your targeting in these regions or these areas, you absolutely could do so because you know that they would be more receptive to your messaging because there's interest there. And so lastly, we have two different tables at the bottom. So we have related topics. So basically the topics are at the category level, right? So if they roll up all of these keywords and they kind of categorize them, that's what's included in the topic. So succeeding, I'm not sure what that is. Succeeding, I'll have to click on that more. Other found important sample. Sample makes more sense, but basically, these are the topics around that term. And so you would kind of have to click into them to figure out why it is or what terms kind of live in those. And then on the right, you have rising search terms, right? And so here, I think this kind of answers your question, Joe, earlier of those longer, like more detailed search terms that people are searching for. So around related terms, this example is a company wants to change its hold on. A company wants to change how its employees are compensated. And so that's not a search term that I would have, thought of. But again, that kind of shows you the mindset of the people that are searching for this. And so that could help you inform the type of surveys that you promote when you're promoting your content, or even the type of surveys that you develop, right? If people are searching for surveys around their employees, things like that, right? And so this is the way to really figure out the related terms of how people are searching and landing around these search terms so that you can make those decisions. Okay. So before we go into the exercise, because I want to give everybody the opportunity to walk through and do this on their own. So if you have any questions, you can ask me before we end. But do you have any questions, or does anybody want me to search for anything specific while I have Google Trends pulled up?
I do have a question. This is Dominique.
Mhm.
I mean, now that I'm not big in social media marketing, so I'm just now learning this. So now that we have that information, it tells us what's trending, right? What people are searching for,
Mhm.
and and what's the concentrated area where they're searching for certain things. But how do we get to those people, right? Um, that that's very informational, but where is the data to reach these folks? Or maybe I'm just so not into this social media that I don't know what's next.
Oh, no, that's a great point. So the way that so the workflow would be the research that we're doing. And so now we're saying like, hey, these are the terms that we want to go after. And so that would based on what channel that you're advertising on or that you're running your campaign on would answer that question. So from a Google standpoint, if you were running Google ads, for example, these are all the search terms that people are searching for. And so on Google, the way that you target your audience, so how you get in front of them, is by putting money behind these keywords, if that
Okay.
makes sense, right? And so you would say, for example, um, he has a lot of long terms for his example, but you would pretty much buy, for lack of better words, buy these keywords. And so you would be telling Google, like, hey, whenever anybody searches for this keyword, I have X amount of money behind it. I want to make sure that my brand shows up. And so
Understand.
that and so that's how you would get in front of that audience, because with Google, it's not more so about the audience, but it's more so about the behavior in the search term. So regardless of who it is, whether they be, in a certain age group or gender, if they're searching for this term, then they're raising their hand to say, hey, I'm interested and I want information about this term. So I want to make sure that my brand shows up.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, another question, Matthew?
Yes. So sorry.
Mhm.
For this one, I guess to piggyback off of the previous question there, to get more precise, I guess, with you're saying to buy the keywords, um, would it be better, would your advice be to buy the keywords and not, I guess, in a broad nationwide search, but more so in, let's say, a targeted city, state, or even local search? Because to my understanding, when we're buying the words, we're still, it's more like a bid, right? We're competing against other folks for the same thing. Would it be better, if, especially for folks like, I'll put myself out there, folks like me with limited budgets, would it be better to like get more precise with our location of how we're putting money on those words for whatever product we're looking for or searching for?
I would say I love that question, because I would say it really depends on the nature of your business. If you're a nationwide business, meaning there's no location behind your services and you could service anybody regardless of location, then I would say maybe starting off with a broad, you know, campaign, to kind of capture everybody, understanding that data. And then maybe if you wanted to increase your bids, because you can do that on Google, right? So meaning I'll pay $1 for this keyword for everybody in the nation, but for this city specifically, because it shows really good interest, I'll pay up to $1.50 or $2. And so if you have a national business, then I would say kind of, go from that approach. But if you're a local business and you can only service people in a local area, I think this is a really good use case for location targeting. So if you're a plumber, for example, right? If you're a plumber that's based in Maryland, you don't want your money going to people that are searching for plumbers in California. That's a waste of your money. So the way that you can really leverage location targeting, and you should really leverage it for your local business, is that if you have a plumber business, for example, you only want to set your ads to show in Maryland, not only Maryland, but specific to the areas and the zip codes that you service. So that example, I would say, absolutely do not set your ads to show across, everyone. Only set it for certain zip codes and certain areas that you can actually service, because you don't want to waste your money.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So I think Matthew made me think about the people who are not ready for ad spend. So how would someone take this data, leverage this data, and implement it for more organic marketing efforts?
I love that. So because Google it does have advertising component, but really the bulk of the search results are organic results, right? And so if you didn't have an advertising budget, the free organic channels is again kind of developing those that content in the blogs on your website. So if we know that, the top search term for your business is Christmas baked cookies, then you can develop a blog around baking cookies for Christmas, right? And so what that allows you to do is still kind of stay relevant within the search feed, with the resources that you have. And so really the idea is to tailor your messaging based on what it is that the audience wants. So if you know that your audience is searching for these terms and they're looking at and they're going to your website, but they don't see any of the terms that they're interested in, then the likelihood of them staying and engaging with your content is not very high. But if you tailor the content to include all of the terms that you know that they're interested in, then they'll stay longer, and then they'll identify you as a brand that gives good quality content, based on what it is that they want. And so not only are you building that content organically, right? So with no money, but you're also building brand loyalty in that way. So that would be one way to kind of utilize this data from an organic standpoint, which is really integrating all of the terms and everything that you're seeing to develop your content, right? And to really kind of shape shift into what it is that people are searching for.
Is that just for website or is it applicable to like everywhere that I am online, like everywhere I show up?
So that's applicable to everywhere that you show up. So, um, in the way that you can use that again, if you're looking for baking Christmas cookies, like if you know that people are interested in that, then yeah, you can develop a blog, but also your Instagram posts, right? If you know that people are interested in that, then you can create an Instagram post of you baking those Christmas cookies, a reel of you showing them how to do it, an instructional post, right? Or like a recipe post, even if you wanted to do a still image. And so that allows you to not only create content on your website, but also across social media, and then also the messaging, right? And so if you know that people are interested in that term, again, including it in emails. Emails is a wonderful way to reach out to people for free, because once you capture somebody's email, they're kind of yours forever. I mean, unless they unsubscribe, right? And then you can hit them constantly with what it is that they want. And so that again would be my recommendation if you didn't necessarily have a large budget to play with.
Thank you.
And
Joe,
Joe, I know we only have a few minutes left though, Dara, so I just wanted to mention that too. But Joe,
My question was to something you said.
mhm.
You mentioned that I just want to confirm I heard you correctly. You said that you can upspend for a given area and downspend for an area that may value your keyword more. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Yes, you can do that. So for ads, so if you're running ads, right, and you know that, so the idea behind ads is that you're able to target, right? You're able to develop a profile of people that you want to go after and target them, right? And put all your money and focus into them. And within that, you're allowed to say, hey, I want to put more money on Wyoming and I don't want to put any money behind California. And so that's a lever that you can and pull. But you can also say, again, for keywords, like in that example, I run an essential oils company. I want to show up for people that are searching for lavender oils, but I don't want to show up for lavender marriage. And, Google allows you to say, hey, add this as a blackout keyword, lavender marriage. And so that way I can really target my efforts on the terms that are really applicable to my brand and that's going to drive business.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So I know we're running low on time, but I did kind of want to pull up this exercise because I wanted everyone to go through um, this exercise and kind of go through Google Trends on their own and answer some of these questions. So I'm going to put it in the chat. No, I don't even know how to do that. Hold on.
are you talking about the attachment that you had on the last slide?
The attachment. No, this is the Google Doc. I just put it in
Okay.
here. Let me see. Okay, can everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I know we're going to go over, but if you want to go through this exercise, basically, you know, I want everyone to open up their computer and go to trends.google.com. I'll give you some time to pull that up. And then once you pull up trends.google.com, I want everyone to take a few minutes to kind of go through this exercise. And you don't have to answer all of the questions because I know we're low on time, but um, if you enter in a keyword that's applicable to your business, I really want you to see all of the data that comes back, right? And so, with a reminder that you have to adjust the filters on the top of the page. So, if you pull this up, go to google.trends.com, put in a keyword, and then apply the filters. After you apply that, really sit with the data for a few minutes and see, what it is that you're seeing. Are you learning anything that you didn't necessarily know? Is there anything that interests you? So that we can kind of talk about that. So I'll give everyone like a minute or two.
And we do that in Explore, correct?
Yes. So if you open up your browser and then type in trends.google.com or click on the link that's within the worksheet, it will take you to Google Trends.
I see Ariana, you just joined. So Camille has asked everyone to go to this Google Doc. I just pasted the link again and go to the trends.google.com.
Yeah. And one thing, sorry, that I forgot to mention is that if you wanted to do this exercise after the call, everyone can make a copy of this sheet. And so that way you can answer the questions and type them in to really tailor this exercise specific to your business.
Camille, just because we are over time, do you think that it would be best if we asked some questions? Um, they can do this later or on their own, but I think having you on the call, they won't necessarily have access to you again like this. So, do we want to give space for people to ask you any questions before we have to hop off?
Of course, yeah, I love that. So I'll send out this sheet too, and again the trend resource guide afterwards. And so yeah, I do want to open up the floor. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No major questions. Just wanted to say that this was really helpful. I'm imagining that when you send the information for us to schedule a call, this is something that we could probably work with you one-on-one with.
Yeah, that would be helpful because then I can have a really focused view on your individual business and extract these insights to apply it, applicable to your business. So yeah, love that.
Tasha's hand is up.
Go ahead.
Hey, sorry if I missed this during the presentation, but is there a way to kind of see from the keywords, is there a way to see exactly what links are sort of leading the charge behind the keywords? Like, for example, for this exercise, I'm looking at WNBA merch versus jerseys because like merch is sort of like more products compared to just a jersey? And could we see like, okay, out of, within Iowa, a lot of people are searching this type of jersey for this player, but they're going specifically to Fanatics or WNBA.shop, or is there a way to kind of see it more in depth, or is that like something different?
So that's something different. We can't see the traffic, but I'm writing your question down and I'm going to follow up because there may be a tool for that, but I would just have to kind of do a little research. And so one way that you could kind of hack that is if like maybe five top competitors, if you want to call them that, or top retailers that you're interested in, maybe you can type in their brand name and see how, the related search terms around their brand name specifically. And that could be one way to get those insights, even though it's not specifically what you asked for, a way to get insights within Google Trends that still kind of give you a rough idea of how people are searching for those brands.
That helps. Thank you.
No worries.
Quick
And
question. When it comes to that keyword search for something like, let's say, a sneaker brand, if I was typing in black owned sneaker brands or black owned shoe brands or black shoe brands, it says that there's just not enough searches for it. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to find an audience that is still tailored enough for exactly what I'm looking to reach, for the people I'm looking to reach.
so when I think of the search term black owned search, well, one, the black owned piece, that may be limiting your search. So if you want to say expands, right?
Just like
For
shoe brand.
yeah, shoe brands to see what's happening in the marketplace, and that would probably be the way to get that data. But then also I'm thinking of the mindset. So when you're typing in black owned shoe trends, are you coming from the like if I were a consumer and I were interested, like I have an affinity for black owned businesses because I'm black, right? I wouldn't necessarily search for that. And so I would say maybe starting your research on search brands and then from there seeing if, maybe if you go into a category that's around like culture or something like that, if you see anything specific to the market that you're looking for within that category.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No worries.
One more question is,
Mhm.
can you only search like one keyword at a time, or can you do like multiple? It seems like when I put maybe like personal care, I mean senior care, I get nothing.
When you put in personal care,
Yes, personal care home, and then semicolon senior care, I get nothing. Whereas if I put personal care home, I get a lot of data. Well, I got information. If I do senior care, I get information.
got it. So you can search one search at a time in Google Trends, but you can't compare terms. So if you can still see my screen, I
Yeah.
pulled up personal care, right? And then if I wanted to add in another term, I would type in senior
Oh,
care,
okay.
right? And so that shows you a comparison between the two terms. So you can compare, how those two terms perform against each other. And
Understand.
so, yeah.
But when searching for terms, you have to really search for one term at a time. Okay.
In Google Trends. Now, if you go and you're ready to advertise, there is a way for you to bulk insert keywords. But that's a that's a different class, and that's a whole different sphere in terms of marketing. But if you did want to advertise with Google Ads, and they do allow you to bulk upload keywords to get kind of data in one view.
Understand.
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions?
I know we have two shoe brands on the call right now, and so it's the holiday season. right? So what kind of mindset, because you were talking about thinking about the mindset of the consumer, what kind of mindset should they be trying to tap into, or what lens should they be using when looking for keywords?
So I love that question because um, in the resource guide, one of the trend resources that's included is around Google Shopping. And so there's Google Trends that we're looking at now, but then Google also has a Google Shopping Trends guide that shows you, it's centered around the holidays, right? And so it's showing you what people are searching for the most during the holiday season. And I think that that's a really good example and would be a really good use or resource for a shoe brand because mindset, yeah, people are searching for for shoes throughout the year, but if I have, a husband or, somebody that I'm trying to buy a gift for, well, that search is going to look completely different, right? And so around the holiday season, the searches may shift a little bit into shoe gifts for men. Or even if it doesn't include the term shoe, it could still be applicable, right? If you show them the right messaging. So you can say, what gifts should I get my boyfriend or what gift should I get my girlfriend? And so even though it doesn't necessarily explicitly state shoe, it's still an opportunity for you to show up as a solution for a problem or for what it is that somebody's searching for. And so I would say really during the holiday season, really understanding how people are searching for gift giving is should be at the forefront and really understanding, how people want to give those gifts, right? So are they looking for the trendiest gift? Are they looking for the cheapest gift? Are they looking for coupons, right? Because people are on a budget this year. And so really understanding that, yeah, there's your core audience, but right now there's a really great opportunity for you to tap into people that's outside of your core audience simply because people are looking for gift giving content or gift giving opportunities.
I wanted to follow up on that because what you said was really good and insightful. Because I was looking through like I'm one of the shoe brands and like we pretty much have shoes for women with larger or extended shoe sizes. So whenever they go into Google, it's more so hey size 12, right? Let me get right to it. But I think that like you don't hear much about like individuals I guess advertising on Google's during the holidays. I know it's like a targeted reach through Meta, right? Meta, we can kind of get some feels, get some images there. But I guess when you are determining Google ads versus the Meta, what is that determining factor? Is it more so I need to be on Google because they're searching for a specific thing, or I need to do Meta because I want to get a broader audience? Like, how are you thinking about both of those, and what would you tell a brand if they're deciding between the two?
So I would say everything kind of starts off with budget, right? Because if you have a $500 budget, your strategy is going to look completely different if you had a $5 million budget, right? You'll have a little bit more wiggle room. So I would say one, depending on your budget, let's assume like, we're small businesses, all of us are. So let's assume we have limited budgets to work off of. I'll say, what are your goals? If you want people to buy, well, then Google makes sense because again, the mindset when people are searching on Google, it's the lowest hanging fruit. People are explicitly raising their hand and they're saying, I need this thing. I need a solution to my problem. Versus somebody gets on Instagram, yeah, you can target based on what it is that they liked in the past or, the profile that Meta has crafted for them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in the market to buy right now. Like when I get on Instagram, I'm scrolling. I'm trying, I don't know, I could be waiting for a doctor's appointment or just, passively scrolling. That doesn't mean that even if I see something that may engage me, that doesn't mean that I'm in the market to purchase. So that's that. It kind of would require an additional conversation, but just the mindset between the different platforms of search and social that kind of I hope that answers your questions in terms of the intent versus the passive capture. Like you can capture people as they're passively engaging with content, but if you really want to hit the ground running, then search would be the recommendation.
No, that helped a lot because we do get a lot of like organic searches from Google, and it's just trying to figure out ways to tap into that. It is more expensive than Meta. So trying to wrap my head around that, or like doing, I don't know, running it for a few days and not consistently or something. Because I do think is golden there. But I'm definitely gonna look into the Google shopping. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Ariana, I know that you hopped on a little late, so Camille is going to be a resource. So you are MIEC alum, so we're offering one-on-one consultations with Camille. So I think a lot of the questions that you have, I definitely think you would benefit from that. So make sure you reach out afterwards. And I'll be doing a recap of this whole thing. I think somebody asked if you will have the recording, and you will. So I just want to call out that we are now 15 minutes over time, and I want to honor everyone's time. But I do want to make sure that you all know that Camille is a resource. I think play around, with Google Trends, go through the resource that she provided, and I'll make sure that all her contact information you guys receive so that you can follow up for next steps. So it's MIEC alum who have Camille as a resource for free, and also those of you who are currently in a cohort. So I just wanted to call that out. Everyone can access Camille, but it's MIEC alum who we're giving free sessions to. Camille, I'll let you wrap it up, just to say your piece, and then we can head out.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you, one, to Odera for helping coordinate everything. This was great. I loved the engagement. I love the questions. You had really great questions. I was kind of nervous that people weren't going to ask me anything and it was going to be awkward, but it wasn't. But yeah, as Odera mentioned, I'm a resource for MIEC alum. Even if you aren't an MIEC alum, reach out. After this workshop, you'll get my information. I can actually put my information on the screen right now too, so that you have it. But my email is Camille at Creative House, and Creative House is spelled without an I. If you have any questions or just want to pick my brain, we can set up consultations sessions. Okay.
Right. Thank you, Camille. Thank you so much. This was so great, and I appreciate you taking the time to create this workshop for everyone, also taking the time to provide your services after this workshop. And so I know for me, I have a lot of questions, especially being somebody who's very curious about marketing and branding. And so I probably will also be picking your brain after this as well. But again, yes, those of you who were in any of our MIEC cohorts, any of our students who are part of the MIEC ecosystem, and if you're currently in a cohort right now, please make sure you tap Camille as a resource. And so thank you all. Have a great day, and we'll be sending you all the email with all of the resources attached soon.
All right. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. That was very good. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.